Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. In this one I will be adding flowers to the bottom of Aurora's dress. As I said in last week's video, these flowers were gifted to me by Nicole from Let Down Your Golden Hair. I will link her channel in the description below and up in the cards now. So basically she got me these pink iridescent flowers and also some like blue periwinkle, someone told me it's periwinkle now, blue periwinkle bluebells. Gosh, that was confusing. And I really wanted to incorporate them into the Aurora dress, especially since they tie in so well with the concept of, is her dress blue or is it purple? Sorry, blue or pink, because of the fairies who keep changing them colours. Anyway, so I started by removing all of the petals from the stems. The stems are made out of this plastic, and there's also these little weird plastic cup shapes in the bluebell flowers, which I don't really need or want. So yeah, basically cut away all of the flowers from their stems so I could have the fabric part, because I'm all about the fabric. So I did that for all of the flowers, and yeah, I mean that's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of this video will be self-explanatory, so I am going to be answering some questions that you guys asked me on Instagram a bit later on, but for now I'll just go through what I'm doing. So now I am cutting each of the petals. Honestly, I had no idea what I was actually going to do with these flowers to begin with. I was just doing stuff and hoping it worked out, which it did, by the way, so that's good. And I did the exact same thing for the pink flowers as well, so cut out each of the individual petals. So obviously the petals of the pink flowers are a lot larger than the blue ones, so I did cut them even more a bit later on. So here are all the petals. This is what I had to work with. I think they look really pretty. Anyway, moving on. I cut some thread, threaded my needle, tied a knot in the thread. I do this by licking my fingers and then twisting the thread around my finger and then bunching up the thread and pulling it, and there's a knot, so that's great. I'm using a doubled up thread because I really want this to be strong and secure. Sorry about all the background noise, by the way, as well. I'm filming in a different I'm voice recording in a different location than I usually am in. Okay, so I am, what did I miss? I folded the flower petal into this shape and then started sewing the bottom of the flower together. I'm sorry that this voiceover is so bad. Anyway, you get the gist. So that is basically what I am doing for all of the petals. So I am going to move on to the questions that you guys asked me on Instagram. Let me get them up. I'm on my phone right now, by the way. You can't see me, but I am on my phone. Okay, oh, maybe I should just continue voicing over this video. Okay, so I chopped off the bottom part of the flower, and now I am sewing the flower to the dress. I'm sewing it to the chiffon layer only, and with these bigger pink flowers I am sewing them quite close to the leaf trim, and then the smaller flowers I will be scattering them out a bit further away from the leaf trim, so it looks like the flowers are falling off the stems. Anyway, I will get on to the questions now. I'll stop talking about the actual video because I'm sorry, but I don't know how to talk through all of this footage. Here I am tying a knot in the back of the fabric behind where the flower is, and and once the knot is put in, I snip the thread, and that's one flower done. And then repeat that process for all the flowers. Okay, now I'm actually going to move on to the questions. So, let me scroll back. Here we go. So I didn't get that many questions, but I will answer what I do have, and hopefully that will be enough talking for the footage in this video. I do go into like how I do the other flowers a bit later on, so I'll switch back to talking about the dress when it comes to that footage. Yeah. Okay, questions. So Hufflepuff Pixie asks, dream cosplayer you want to make? Okay, so this one, I do have a dream cosplay, but I don't think I will make it, or at least I won't make it anytime soon. So my dream cosplay of like all time would be Cinderella's dress from the live action movie, the one that Lily James wore in the 2015 movie. That's my dream cosplay, but yeah, that's a beast of a dress. I don't want to make it. I think I would probably get someone to make it for me if I was really that desperate to have it, but I'm not that desperate right now. It's expensive, it's big, you would need to look after it, store it, clean it. It's like owning a pet. So that's my dream cosplay that I don't want to make. As for my dream cosplay I do want to make, I don't know if I'll make it, but it is more manageable, I think, than Cinderella's beast of a dress. And that is Aurora's dress, her blue dress from the live action movie Maleficent, Mistress of Evil. So the one worn by Elle Fanning. And that's the one that she wears at the beginning of the movie, and it's basically covered with embroidery, I guess. It's really cool, like it's textured and it's got like tulle and it's very floaty and it's blue and it's got purple in there and pink as well. And it really is like one of my most favourite dresses from cinema of all time. I really, really love that dress. And I would like to try the technique that was used where they embroider on like a dissolvable fabric and then they're just left with the embroidery part and then they sew that to the dress. So yeah, that would be a challenge, but I think because it's not as big as Cinderella's dress, it would be something I could make. And I'm not saying that I will make it or anytime soon, but it is a dream. Next question comes from Anna UK? I don't know, Anna. And she asks, what's your favorite thing about sewing? I think my favorite thing is that you can create whatever you want, and literally whatever you want. So what you create is unique. No one else in the world has that same item as you. Yeah, so it's really personal, and it's pretty cool knowing that you've actually made something yourself and you can feel proud and accomplished, and you can always improve on your skills as well. So I really like that about sewing, and I also like the fact that it gets me away from looking at a computer. I know that I do watch like a lot of YouTube while I sew, but it never used to be that way. When I first started sewing, so basically, when I first started making costumes, and back when I was making Jasmine, I was actually living in a place that had very limited internet. I was living off 5 gigabytes of data per month. So that meant I watched a lot of just like free TV, whatever was on air, and that was usually Friday, Saturday nights, but all other times I wouldn't have anything to watch, so I would literally just focus on my sewing, and it was really good to get me away from looking at a screen, because that's what I do all day. Yeah. I Came Here to Cosplay asks, how long does it usually take you to finish a sewing project? It really varies, and I've actually answered this question before, but I'll answer all of these questions again because why not? I need to fill the time. Recently, my costumes have been taking me at least a month or two. Jasmine was an exception because I was entering her in a competition, so I did work on Jasmine for about 6 months, whereas the dress that I'm working on now, which is Aurora in the video, I made that in about 3 months, and then the other costume that I made while I was working on Aurora was Briar Rose, and I finished Briar Rose in about a month. It just really depends on the costume. Sometimes I have a lot of trouble figuring out how it's going to close, like what are the closures I'm going to use, how is it going to work logistically. I always try and think about how I can make costumes so I can put it on myself without any help, because I prefer to be able to put things on myself. I don't want something that has a whole bunch of hooks and eyes down the back and I can't put it on myself. So those are the things that I think about. I think I spend more time thinking about making things than actually doing it, if I'm being honest. I don't really do research or anything, but I do just spend hours scrolling on Instagram finding photos that I like that are inspirational. So yeah, sorry that was a long answer, but I'd say anywhere between a month and 6 months. Okay, let's put an average. Let's average 2 to 3 months per costume. Oh, and keep in mind that's including like working full time and, you know, having some weekends where I don't want to do any sewing. Yeah, I do have a life outside of this too. This is a big part of my life, but it's not my full life. Historical Belle asks, favorite con experience? I would say it would be it'd have to be I haven't even been to that many cons, but just the whatever the first one was that I went to with my friends, my actual like costuming friends, not my sister, because she's not really that into costuming. But yeah, the first time I went with costuming friends, that was my favorite con experience because I actually felt like I had found my people. Yeah, you guys know who you are. Next question from Not Alyssa. Oh, not Alicia? I guess it could be pronounced Alicia. Anyway, what was your first cosplay? So my first cosplay was Wonder Woman, her gold armor from Wonder Woman, the 2017 film. Yeah, that was my first cosplay. I had made a couple of other costumes before that, and they were Regency dresses, so I guess you could call those cosplay, but they were not for any conventions or anything. I didn't actually know about conventions before the Wonder Woman debut. Yeah, they were just for like historical events and things, so I would say Wonder Woman was my first. Fairies, dragons, and or toads asks, how did you start cosplaying? So I started with Wonder Woman, obviously. I've explained this story in another video as well, but I'll explain it again because, I don't know, maybe you're a new viewer. I basically made a deal with my sister that, you know, if she made the blue and red Wonder Woman outfit. I would make the gold one. We would go to a convention together for the first time. She ended up making her costume because she was on uni break, I think, and had nothing better to do. So I saw that she had started making her costume and I was like, okay, well, I better get on to making mine. And I made mine, we went together, and it was there that I saw that people made costumes and would wear them out to these conventions. There were competitions, people were really into sewing, which is something that I was always very passionate about. And then I just continued from there. Next question comes from Juliqua, and she asks, how did you get started in costuming? I think I basically just answered that. We'll move on to the next question from Tommy Pezmaster, who asks, favourite Puffy dress to wear? Well, unfortunately I don't own a big Puffy dress. Most of my costumes are more slim, streamlined. My favourite dress to twirl in is definitely Aurora, the dress that I'm making in this video now, but I've already finished it at the time of filming this voiceover, I've actually already finished and worn Aurora. So that is my favourite dress to twirl in. I guess Jasmine's pants are quite puffy. That's the closest I'm going to get to a puffy dress for now, I think. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next questions. Biology 206 asks, what inspired you to start making costumes? I think I really got into costumes around 2011, and this was before I actually started making costumes, but this is what got me into just admiring costumes. It was the TV show called Once Upon a Time. I loved the costumes on that show. I had never seen any other TV show put that amount of effort into their costumes. So that's what really inspired me to look into the details of costumes and really appreciate it. But I didn't make any of those costumes simply because I didn't know that, you know, there were things called conventions that you could go to and people had the same interests. That was when I was watching Once Upon a Time. That was back when I lived in a rural, if you will, area that didn't have conventions and things like that. So it wasn't until after I moved to a bigger city that I realized that people actually had costuming as a hobby, and that's when I started actually making costumes. Sarah Man 20 asks, how long does it take you to make an outfit? Again, I already answered that. It's a few months. Sorry, it's a vague answer, but I can't give a definitive answer on that. Sabine Eliane asks, who is your favourite Disney character? I think I have quite a lot. If I think favourite Disney movie, that would be Tangled. I do really like Rapunzel, but I wouldn't say she's my favourite character. I just really like her movie. For characters, gosh, that's a really hard question. When I think characters, I think like Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, Eeyore, Piglet, Tigger. I think Tigger and Pooh are probably my favourite Disney characters. I like Mary Poppins. I like Alice from Alice in Wonderland, both versions, both the cartoon and the live action film. But I would say my favourite would be... Gosh, someone thinks something's funny. don't know if you can hear them laughing. Someone's laughing very loudly in the background. A neighbor, not from this house. Favorite character would be... I'm gonna say Pooh and his friends. Yeah. Next question. L only sews. Do you prefer cats or dogs? Dogs 100%. Oh, there's a random 25 with a question mark. I think that's someone's trying to guess my age, because on my Instagram stories I had a different story asking how old you guys think I look. Actually curious. How old do you think I look? I'm actually not going to answer it, by the way. I'm just curious to know. Next question, K97 Jones. What is your favourite costume that you have made? So, like I said, at the time of filming this voiceover, I've actually already finished and worn at least version 1 of Midnight Masquerade Aurora, and I think because it's the most recent costume that I've finished, it is my favourite right now. But before this costume, it would be Jasmine. Sangreen619 asks, what's your favourite thing about costuming? This one's very similar to the first question about what's your favourite thing about sewing. And like I said, I just like that what you make is unique. You made it with your own bare hands, and you can feel totally satisfied and accomplished with what you've done. Lambs Looking Like Lions asks, what is your C-Ann cosplay? C-Ann, I don't know what C-Ann means, but I don't know, maybe this question is what is your signature cosplay? I guess. My signature cosplay, like as in a character that people see me as, I think that would be Jasmine, because I have dark hair and I've made her costume. And that's about it. I don't really resemble her much apart from like I've got dark hair and that's it. Oh, message. Sorry, getting messages from work on my phone. It's all about this coronavirus stuff. I hope everyone's doing well. Like, I mean, this coronavirus is affecting a lot. Yeah, I'm now working remotely and my work is asking about border discussions. Like, even I can't go back to my family, like my parents, they can't visit me unless they want to commit to self-quarantine for 14 days when they go back, and this is literally in the same country. They'd just be traveling across to a different state. So that's where it's at in Australia, if you're curious. It's affected quite a bit. Not as much as overseas, but it is affecting us. Yeah, so just on that, I hope everyone is looking after themselves, look after the people around you, keep your distance, wash your hands, don't hoard toilet paper. Yeah, stay safe everyone. We'll get through it. Questions, where are we? Oh, another question about why I started cosplay. I just really like making costumes and I really love sewing. Do you need any other reason to start cosplay? You don't even have to like sewing. You could hate sewing. You could really love doing crafty foam work and doing armor and things like that. That's cool too. You can certainly buy costumes as well if you're not that creative. You might be more into makeup and hairstyling instead, so that's also cosplay, and that's also a big part of costuming as well. Costuming is not just sewing, although it is to me it's sewing, but it's really not that, just that, it's everything. Like I've definitely ventured into the world of doing makeup and hair as well, which is something I never used to really do, but it really does help to make your costume that much more amazing and have that wow factor. Like if you think about, you know, just putting on a costume and you haven't done your hair and you haven't done your makeup, you might not be wearing the right accessories, like you might not have any jewelry on. It just sort of ruins the look, as bad as that sounds, but sometimes you just need to amp up everything else because your costume is so otherworldly. People don't see it day to day, so it makes sense for you not to wear your day-to-day hairstyle or you know, your watch, which you would wear day to day, things like that. Oh, and the final question comes from Costuming Drama. I was going to say Costuming Grammar. That's not right. So, hi Noelle, and she asks, why are you so awesome? Thank you. You are awesome. You are the most awesome person. That's it for questions. I guess I'll talk back to the video. What am I doing? I am trying to figure out how to do these little flowers. Honestly, I don't know what I'm doing in any of these clips. Even now, me looking back at them, also at the time of filming, I wouldn't have known what I was really doing. Here's what I had. I had some little pink things and I had some periwinkle petals. Cool. So now once I've got all that, I can throw them onto the dress. I remember filming that part. Yep, I literally just threw them onto the dress and started placing them randomly around the bottom of the dress. Oh, someone's tooting their horn outside. Yeah, and then I pinned all of the petals down. Cool. Like I said, it's very self-explanatory. I'll just explain what I did, and then I will just leave the rest of the video with music because I need to cook dinner. So I pinned all of the petals down. I dispersed the petals out from the stems to make it look like they were falling off the stems, and I didn't pin any petals too far up the skirt. I tried to keep them to the base of the dress, so where the hem is. Obviously, alternating between pink and blue flowers and petals, trying not to have too many pink or blues bunched up together. And then towards the back of the dress, I scattered the petals in a way that it dispersed into nothing at the very back of the dress, because later on that's going to have a cape that covers it, and there's no point in me putting details on the back where no one will see it. So yeah, so that's the back. As you can see, pretty plain and boring compared to the front. Oh, and then I'm just sewing all of these petals down. Nothing too special about sewing these down, just do a couple of stitches and then knot the thread in the back, and that's it. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I'm missing, but honestly, I think that's it. I don't remember doing anything else special. Just cutting out flowers and sewing them onto the dress. Yeah, so that's it for this video. Sorry for the rambling and not knowing what to say, because I really don't know what I am saying. I'm just scrolling through my phone now. I'm looking at all of my inspiration images for my next project. One of the fabric stores in Australia is having a 50% off sale online, and I've already been to the store a few weeks ago on my birthday with Kira Cosplay. Thanks for taking me out, Kira. And we went to go look at fabrics for my next project, and I had found a fabric, and back when I was looking at fabrics in person, they were all still full price. But now the store has a 50% off sale, so I can grab my fabric for half price. And I am getting super excited about it. But I am also getting nervous because I want to try doing something I haven't done before. Oh, and when I say that, I don't mean anything too extravagant. Plenty of people have... basically what I'm thinking is doing an actual corset thing, and then like a separate bodice that goes over the top of the corset. So as you would have seen in all my other costumes, I've always put in a built-in corset, because I don't know why really, I just do it. Whereas this time I really want to do a proper separate corset and then have a bodice that goes over the top and then sits flush against the corset. So I've been looking at a lot of pictures. Oh, look, I think we've reached the end of the video. No, we haven't. I thought we had. I am sewing stuff. How much longer of this video is there? I don't know. Okay. Well, I know what I'm doing now. I'm at the very end of the actual sewing part of the dress. I'm literally sewing on the top parts of the stems that come quite far up, to the point where they come past the point where the chiffon is separate to the skirt. So this is actually what I would call the bodice portion of the dress. So the chiffon and actual dress layers are sewn together, and because of that I couldn't actually machine sew this gold leaf trim up that far. So I'm hand sewing that down in this clip, and that is literally, I'm pretty sure it's the last thing that I had to do for this dress. Yeah, so once that's done, it's done. So the next video is going to be, well, I think it's going to be making the bag. So I did have the little drawstring bag that I wore to the convention with both the Aurora dress and the Briar Rose dress. So it matches both dresses, I think. It incorporates some of this gold leaf trim, or at least the leftovers that I had. And yeah, it was a good bag to hold hand sanitizer and everything else. I mean, I can fit my lunch, my whatever lipstick I'm wearing for the day, contact lens cases, keys, money, bobby pins, safety pins, band-aids. Yeah, it fits a lot, so always handy to have a drawstring bag. And I think that's it. Like, honestly, I don't know what else to say. I just keep mumbling on until we reach the end of this footage. No, it's actually like literally 2 minutes before this footage finishes. Which is really weird because I thought I would add a clip of me, not of me, but of the final outcome of doing all of this work. Okay. Oh, I know what the next video is. No, the next video is not the bag. The next video is the first try on of the dress. So yeah, the next video is me trying on the dress for the first time. So that's not actually the end of this video. That's, when I say not the end of this video, I mean I'm not including it in the video that you're watching now. That's going to be in the next video next week. So the bag video will come after that. Yeah, okay. Sorry for all of the rambling. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a like. Make sure to follow me on Instagram because all of the finished photos of this dress are up on Instagram. I also have a website as well. I just created a new website so I could document photos. I just wanted a nice place to put my photos and work in progress pictures from each of my costumes. I mean, Instagram is a great place to put things, but it's not very organized. Yeah, so check out my website as well. I'll leave the link in the description below. So that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. I never know how to end videos. Okay, bye.